World AIDS Day is tomorrow, the 1st of December. South Africa is launching a vaccine trial against HIV today. The study, called HVTN 702, aims to enroll just under 5,500 South Africans in 15 cities across 5 provinces. The largest and most advanced HIV trial ever in South Africa will focus on sexually active volunteers aged between 18 and 35. More than 6.5 million South Africans live with HIV, one of the highest rates in the world. The trial is being spearheaded by 4 South African scientists. Results of the vaccine study are expected in late 2020. Well, for more on this, we cross to our reporter Lopang Alamu, who's live from Soshanguve, where that trial is being launched, or just one of the areas where that trial is being launched. Lopang, a very good afternoon to you. Something quite historic here. This is the only HIV vaccine efficacy trial in the world, and it's being conducted solely in South Africa.
Well, a very good afternoon to you and to the viewers. Well, definitely a historic moment happening here just on the eve of the World AIDS International Day. As you would have heard earlier on, I mentioned the fact that this is a program that is happening for the second time after the Thai trial, which happened 7 years ago. It proved to only be 31% effective, but it was a large scale, as explained by one of the guests that we heard earlier on here. But I've got with me Professor Glenda Gray, who's one of the 4 leading participants, or rather 4 leading professors in this program, and she'll explain to us a little bit more what this program is all about. Professor Glenda, thank you so much for your time. For our viewers at home who do not understand what HVTN 702 is, could you please briefly explain to them?
This is an HIV vaccine trial, and this vaccine trial is trying to see whether, if we give vaccines to 5,400 people, whether we can get a protection. So this vaccine is a very important vaccine trial. It's a pivotal study, and it involves 5,400 people, and by the end of the study we will know whether the vaccine protected against HIV acquisition. And so this trial is to look to see how effective is this vaccine regimen in preventing HIV acquisition.
Let's talk a little bit more about the participants. They're in the age group 18 to 35, and that is the highest age group that is most likely to contract HIV and AIDS. What made you guys decide on that age group particularly?
So there are 1,000 infections that happen every day in South Africa, and most of these happen in young women and in men. And so what we want to do is we want to make sure that our vaccine regimen is targeted to the most susceptible and most vulnerable people to get HIV. And so we have targeted 18 to 35-year-olds because that's where the epidemic happens. That's where the infection happens. And so if we don't go and evaluate this vaccine regimen in these young people, we will never know that this vaccine works in this age group. And so it's critical to find a solution for people who are very susceptible and are at risk of getting HIV.
How prepared are the participants for all of this? Are they mentally prepared? Do they go for counseling? And what methods of training have you guys offered them?
So this is a long process to be enrolled into a vaccine trial. We have a pre-screening period and a screening period where we talk a lot to the participants. It's almost 6 weeks of preparation, making sure people understand what they're going to be doing and why they should or shouldn't be involved in the trial. Once they've passed the 6-week period, they then sign what we call informed consent. At any time in the vaccine trial, they can withdraw, and they can withdraw so it's voluntary. No one is forced to participate, and people can withdraw at any time. But what's important is the pre-screening period that we take people through, so that they fully understand what they're going to be getting in for, how long they must stay, and how to protect themselves from getting HIV.
All participants who have volunteered are HIV negative. What then happens during the trial that they contract HIV and AIDS?
Okay, so that's a good question. So we enroll 5,400 people into the study. Half get the vaccine and half get a control. And we tell everybody to protect themselves. And so what we're evaluating is how this vaccine works with the standard of prevention that we have versus the standard of prevention by itself. Anyone who gets infected on our trial, we immediately triage into care and follow up to see whether the vaccine has any effect on long-term progression or on the disease natural history.
I understand we're going to have to wait 4 years before the results start trickling in.
Yeah, we want to know how potent this vaccine is and how long it lasts. And so it's very important for us to follow participants out up to 36 months so we can see how long our vaccine effect lasted. So we'll know whether this vaccine worked around 2021 or 2020. And so it's a long wait, 20 months to enroll, and then 36 months of follow-up, and then eventually in 2020 we will know what effect our vaccine had.
I mean, the success of this vaccine will put South Africa on, the world map on, with regards to health. How important is it for us, seeing that South Africa has such a high rate of HIV infections? Just last year, there were more than 380,000 new infections.
Yes, South Africa is the only place to evaluate an HIV vaccine rapidly. South Africa is going to contribute enormously to HIV vaccine development and efficacy. So the best place in terms of scientists, in terms of laboratories, and also because we have the high burden of disease. So South Africa will contribute enormously to HIV vaccine discovery. We will contribute at a global level to what it means to protect against HIV. So South Africa is critical for vaccine development, for vaccine discovery, and the people in the communities, the doctors that we work with, and all our laboratories are also critical, and so we are in the best place to do these vaccine trials.
Well, definitely. I wish you all the best of luck. Thank you so much for your time. That was Glenda Gray, one of the 4 leading scientists in this program. But again, with me, I've got one of the participants in this program, Jane Mukabela. Jane, thank you so much for joining us, my sweetheart. You're only 21 years of age. What made you want to take part in this?
Because I know a lot of people who are HIV positive and who have died because of HIV positive. And so I decided to make a difference by joining the study.
Jane, why do you feel that it's important that you take part in such an initiative?
To help the researchers to prove that the study can indeed reduce the risk of HIV.
Thank you so much for your time. Very, very sorry for the picture quality, but that was Jane Mukabela, one of the participants, one of the 5,400 people who are taking part in this initiative program. They will be the trigger to actually tell us if the vaccine trial will be a success or not. But we'll definitely be on the ground and keep you updated on any new developments. But for now, it is back to in studio, Natasha.
Lopang, thank you very much. Lopang Alamu live there from Soshanguve at the launch of that HIV vaccine trial.